All right, guys. Today we got a real special guest in the house. This man is a legend from the group The Artifacts, and he's had a hell of a solo career too. The Sensei.
Peace. What up? What up?
How you doing today, my brother?
What's good, man? January 2nd. I'm alive and well, and Happy New Year to all. And yeah, we're here. I'm good, ready to go.
Yeah, man, for sure. So let's start at the beginning. You're from Newark, New Jersey. Now, were you born in Newark?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Did you grow up with any siblings?
Yes, I got two brothers. Oh, both younger than me. I'm the oldest.
Oh, you're the oldest. Okay. So, what was the household like for you growing up?
Got, I had two parent household growing up most of my life. My brothers, one after me is 3 years, and the other one is 10. So, I went to school, played sports, and once I got into hip hop, everything changed. But like I was, I wouldn't like to say normal kid, but yeah, I was into a lot of the things that cats my age was into. And I was going through the motions, and I had a good childhood growing up.
Now, what did your parents do for work?
At the time, my mom worked at Macy's, and that was like downtown Newark. My father used to work at the street lights outside the poles. He worked at a steel company, and he used to put light poles together.
So you're coming up in the 70s, right? You're born in 71?
Yes,
like
indeed.
right at the beginning of 71, right?
Right.
So,
right. At the top.
So this is right after the civil rights movement. Like, what do you remember about that time period coming up in Newark?
Well, growing up, I only saw pictures and read in books. My mom told me it was hectic because at the time where we were at, it wasn't so much in the thick of everything. But I was like after that, but it wasn't so much. I was deep into it, but I moved around a little bit once I was born. But I was like in the Bellsburg section of Newark.
Got you. So how would you describe Newark during that time? Help paint the scene for us as a kid. If you're walking the streets during the 70s at that time, what is the environment looking like?
Well, I was walking with my parents, so I would say from the things that I saw, I think it was still in the height of the dope era. So one thing I will say, you saw was a lot of dope fiends, and this was like, heroin rampant in the hood. So
right, because this is right after the Vietnam War too.
Yes. So so, you saw a lot of this. It changed a lot as we grew up, but yes, that was very prevalent. I can remember times, our parents took us to New York a lot. So when we get on a train, going downtown Newark was an adventure, so you would get on the train, and I remember clearly a few times, I'm looking at these people and their hands is huge, feet big, and I'm asking my father, like, why is his hands like that? Why is his arms? My father told me they shoot up, and once they shoot that dope, I had to understand what that meant, all the terminology, everything, but I'm thinking to myself, and also, it was a show called Like It Is that came on ABC. Gil Noble. Gil Noble had an episode on Like It Is where he wanted to show you what it was like. This pretty much was everywhere. It was, he was in an abandoned building, and I want to say Harlem, and with a bunch of dope fiends. And he interviewing them in the building. And they getting busy right there, shooting in front of him, telling their stories. And it was one guy, I clearly remember, where he said, he asked him why he was shooting up down there. And he said, man, I ain't got no more veins left. So this is my only, way to do it is down there. And he was just, from there, he was just talking about how doing this drug, you don't even think about having a girlfriend. You don't think about being clean. You don't think about nothing but getting high. So this is what I remember seeing in the street. A lot of nasty books on the street. Playboy, you name it. It was just like it was just grimy, dirty. And as we grew up, of course, times changed. But as a youth, yeah, I saw a lot of that.
But then, like, you also have to remember the '80s, then the crack era right after that
Right,
too.
that was a whole different beast. That was a whole another thing. And Gil Noble also had an episode where it was a guy that got into that. He was a lawyer. And this dude was a good guy, good lawyer and everything. They did a study on him. He did the interview, and he was good. But he was like functioning. By a year later, this dude looked totally different, homeless, sold all his stuff, marriage going on. I'm like, wow. Like, so when that came, that was where our era, as far as growing up in the 70s and then rising up in the 80s, that was when a lot of things started happening. Cats young, 12, 13, 14, starting to sell drugs on the street. And, everybody making money, but the other things, the things that came with it, as you seeing all this happen, and I see all my friends get into that. This is when I was a B-boy. So one day, 1 week, everybody a B-boy, and then the next week, I'm seeing these dudes, they got chains and all that. I'm like, what the hell going on? And that's when the crack came.
What was it like for you? Because your dad seemed very honest with you, right? Like, to help you process what was going on around you, what you were witnessing. Now, some parents would just like say, "Oh, they're crazy or they're struggling." They wouldn't really give the real like that. How do you think that impacted you hearing it that way?
Well, because we was right there sitting in front of the dude.
Right.
So on the train. So my father couldn't be nothing but honest to make me understand why he looked like that. And then I would think the Gil Noble episode for me solidified that I was never doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that, why would I be interested in? But as a kid, this is what was going on in the street. It wasn't like, unlike anything, it was like zombies, where you little, you small. So you don't really understand. You just see what you see. But as you grow up and you start understanding, and yeah, it turns different when also it touches your culture, your era, especially when going from seeing it and then seeing people make money over something that wasn't before. So it was a drastic difference in that.
I think one of the saddest things too, you would see like some of these women that were beautiful.
Right.
Then they would get hooked on that. Like, I'm talking like ladies that like everybody wanted to be with,
Yep.
right? And then next thing you know, it's like they selling their bodies just for the next high and stuff, and they look like a shell of themselves. Sad.
And that's the women mostly that was in that life. Chasing behind dudes that was like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because once they get hooked, you now doing things you wouldn't think you would do for that.
Right.
And in the 70s and more also in the 80s and 90s. Because when you're talking about somebody that probably don't have no money and asking for it, what you think a lot of these dudes are doing? And they know who they are, and they looking at them too, like, wow, I remember you. They all come calling. And like you said, that shit, once that get a hold of you, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. A few things people think they can handle, but you're talking about dope and coke and, it's hard to shake that.